Welcome to The Vibrant Couple. My name is Valdo Lallemand. I'm a relationship coach. I created The Vibrant Couple to liberate love through connection and playfulness. This is our series on emotional intelligence. Actually, it's our 15th video on interpretations. I'm going to start with a recap on the video I did last week on projections. Here is the link. Then I'm going to talk about interpretations. We're going to look at how easily interpretations escalate. And we're going to look at how conscious couples can use interpretations as a way of becoming more curious and accepting of each other. Projections are a natural phenomenon in which we use others as a screen. I introduced 3 metrics to look at when we consider projections. The first one is toxicity. You may notice that I inverted, I put 100% on the left and 0% on the right, because we typically aim to what is on the right when we look at metrics. The second metric I presented is consciousness. Basically, how aware are we that we are projecting. A simplification of projections of a person who has low toxicity and a high level of awareness would be, I see in you what is happening in me. These first 2 metrics are individual. The third one is in a couple, and I call it awareness of the process. Basically, projections are natural and we can learn to use them to better relate and better love each other. That's what I call a conscious couple that brings self-awareness, curiosity, and inquiry to the process of being a couple. Interpretations are also a natural human phenomenon. As humans, we are meaning-making machines. We always try to understand everything, especially our partners. I did the video on projection first because very often our interpretations are fraught with projections. So let's imagine a graph in which we have time and we have, I'm going to simplify, but reactivity. And so as we basically go through time, we can graph a specific point for the reactivity of our partner. I'm going to simplify here. Basically, that point is driven by our reptilian brain, our fight, flight, or freeze. The good news here is that in the moment, we can learn to override our reptilian brain response and choose a action that basically serves us better, serves our partner better, serves our couple better, and in the process, liberating love. The second thing that separates us as humans from animals and more, I would say, instinctual beings is that we have the ability to think deeper, make more meaning, and for the sake of our graph, I'm going to say we have the ability to average that graph. You can imagine that this action of averaging this graph takes a lot of brain power. Partially due to our projections, we tend to identify with our interpretations. So basically, we don't know the difference between the interpretations and us making the interpretation, and as a result, they transform into judgments. So please don't get me wrong, not all judgments are bad. It's really good to judge that someone is not safe for us, or it's really good to judge that, yes, I'm going to go to college and I will be a better person in my later years as a result. The problem with judgment is that it is easy to become judgmental and harsh and critical, and therefore becoming toxic. It is a toxicity that often hijacks the process and transforms judgments into condemnations, desire for revenge and retaliation. All of the things that make Hollywood lots of money but are terrible for couples. The second metric is consciousness. So basically, if we are not conscious, we say to the other person, we say to our partner in a couple, this is who you are. If we are conscious, we say, this is how I see you. And you notice it is very different because somehow we intentionally learn to disidentify with our human natural mini-making and learn to see that what we interpret is just our interpretation, and it is likely fraught with projections, and that it is not who our partner is. The third metric is an awareness of the process as a couple. So basically, we know that both in the couple make interpretations, make projections, and are willing to disidentify with them, are willing to put them on the table for a conversation. So if I recap the toxicity, on the left we have a highly toxic couple, and you know, guilty people do guilty things, and basically we search for those, and that really destroys couples. On the other end, we have a couple that is basically learning to diffuse any resentment that naturally builds up in any relationship, especially romantic ones. On the conscious line, on the left, we interpret our interpretations as judgments, and on the right, we learn to interpret our interpretations as interpretations. A non-conscious couple tends to accuse each other of their interpretations. A conscious couple intentionally wants to diffuse that, wants to be curious and exploratory about the interpretations we make. An example of that would be, hey darling, I am forming an interpretation about you. I would love to take a look at it with you while I'm not attached to it, while it's still fresh, so that you and I can diffuse any judgments that could come from it and the difficult build-up resentment that would ensue. This is not easy to do. You can imagine with all the reactivity and the built-up resentment and on and on and on and all the projections, you know, all those things in which, you know, we love each other, but somehow we only trust each other partially. So this is very much of a learning to turn towards each other. We look at projection and interpretations and how it is really important to share interpretations before they escalate into judgments. And we looked at how conscious couples can use interpretations as a way of increasing curiosity and acceptance of each other. It is a lifelong process in which we learn to turn towards each other and become a conscious couple. If this video inspired you to develop your emotional intelligence individually and as a couple, please hit the like button below and subscribe so you can be notified when I publish new juicy content. And please pass it on to all you believe would benefit. I look forward to seeing you very soon.